Hi everyone, it's Psychic Medium Jojo Empathic here. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the Saboteur Archetype, and I tried to give this message the other day when I was on live, and if you caught it, I'm happy you caught it, but the film got completely messed up because of a technical error, so I wasn't able to really produce the whole message for you guys. And it's so important that I get this message out because it's going to be helpful for so many people. So I'm here today recording this privately so I can upload it here on YouTube. So I will put a link in the live video that is up there. It's only 17 minutes long. It's supposed to be 52 minutes long, but that's okay. So if you were to watch that one, you're not going to get the full message. You'll really just see the beginning of the message, and then you'll see the end where I was taking a private question. It was going to be a mediumship show, but Spirit said, talk first, give a message first. Similar to how my radio show works. You didn't know, I'm a host on News for the Soul Radio, an amazing conscious radio station. Check it out at newsforthesoul.com. My show is live every fourth Wednesday of the month at noon. You can call in and receive a free reading. So we do take callers right at the beginning at noon, and if you do want a free live reading, call at noon because there will be callers, and we just go in order to who we can get to. So like and subscribe to this video if you're interested in spirituality, psychic development, medical intuition, energy healing, the quantum field, quantum physics, all of that amazing stuff that I'm so into and like to share here on the platform. And then if you hit the bell notification, you'll be notified anytime I go live, which usually there's some sort of free offering for readings. So if you have questions on work, money, relationships, I'm a medical intuitive. I can find patterns leading to imbalances. I speak with animals, so I can help communicate with your pet. I also give pet medical intuitive readings too, and this includes pets alive and deceased, those alive with us and also on the other side too. So that's just a little brief introduction. If you're looking for a reading, you can find more of my information and book with me right at jojoempathic.com. So let's dive into this content. So lately I've been brought here today from, I've seen this as a collective pattern repetitively lately. The saboteur within us, stepping forward and leading us, confusing us, tripping us up, keeping us held back from that next level of prosperity. Sound familiar to you? Drop a comment. Put in the box and share with us how the saboteur speaks up in your life. Maybe you're at this place of your spiritual development where you're recognizing you're in these really tough cyclical patterns of every time I get money, then something happens. The car breaks down. I got a leak in my roof, and I got to pour into it. Now I don't have money. Every time I meet that new man, he's the perfect guy for me, and it would be so compatible. Then I doubt and I fear and I close off and I block them because the part of me that's leading me is tied to unresolved wounds of abandonment, and I am trying to protect myself from being hurt. So I block them and I cut it off, and he really would have been compatible for you. Those are big areas of our lives that we sabotage. I think work is another big one, and it's unfortunate because what I see with working with different age groups in the population is that a lot of people who are older miss marks. They hold themselves back. They don't allow themselves to get to the next level of success in their lives because of self-sabotage. And it's unfortunate because the quote of "you're your own biggest enemy" is so real, it's so true, and a lot of times we think it's outside of us. We kind of give that power away naturally in the programming, the system we're in, instills in us to wait for a savior, right? Instead of look within for all answers. We are taught collectively to pray a certain way, which is a lot of begging and please God, please help, please that, instead of saying a command into the field. I am strong. I put on my suit of protection. I am protected. Money is flowing to me. Money's already mine. I have this. Instead of speaking in the present and commanding our reality. We're not taught that. So we are really wired to be disempowered, to wait for someone else to fix our problems, to save us, and that bleeds into almost like a fantasy that someone's casting spells on us or cursing us. Just you, hon, just you. You are the one that's putting that negative spell into your reality. So if that sounds like something maybe you're going through, I'm going to dive into this. So from an archetypal energy lens, so if we were to look at different archetypes, we as humans are very multifaceted. We have many different parts of us. We aren't just, I'm not just a female. I'm a daughter, a sister, a friend. I'm not just a friend. I'm a teacher. I'm not just a teacher. I'm a lover. I'm not just a lover. I'm an energy healer. So we have many different faces, many different hats, especially women. Women wear a lot of hats in our families and worlds. But spiritually and energetically, we are also very multifaceted. And for example, if that may be hard for you to see clairvoyantly, think that you may believe that you do have a spirit, a soul. You may also know you have a body, and you also know you have a mind, right? So there's 3 different parts of you. I'm going to say 4, your soul and spirit, different things, right? So we have many parts of us, and if we go through a lot of trauma, we tend to be very fragmented, and these fragments we can see as, Carl Jung would call it the Siamese twins within us, almost very bipolar, very, do this, no, don't do this, go here, no, don't go here, you like this, I don't want that, back and forth, fragmented instead of singular, instead of whole, congruent, centered. So it's very similar for archetype energy. We have major archetypes that we all have. And then we uniquely have personalities where there are archetypal energies that are just for you or just for him or her that may not resonate with me. For example, we may have a gentleman in front of us and he's the misogynist. I'll never have that archetype energy. When I say archetype, it's a pattern, like a personality, something psychically we can trace. I don't have that archetype within me. I'll never be a misogynist. But for him, he wears that hat. Another example is the athlete archetype. A gentleman may be very athletic, professional athlete. Well, his spouse may have no skill in exercise, wellness, none of that's not her cup of tea, right? The saboteur is an archetype energy that we all have. Standard, collective. This is why this message is so important. Because we all will have this battle at some point and to different extents. If you've had a lot of trauma, if someone talked very negative to you, gaslit you, scapegoated you, wasn't kind with their words to you, led you to believe what you were thinking, feeling, or saying wasn't true, your saboteur voice will be very loud. It'll have been very fed by that person, that situation, and then you feed it, you build upon it, and all of a sudden now you have self-talk, negative self-talk from, somebody always telling you, no, that's not true, and, you don't see a ghost, that's not real, that can't be, bring the evidence, and then you start telling yourself, even though you're seeing a spirit, you're like, no, that's not real. Does that sound familiar? That's a very common thing. Put a comment in the comment box, because a lot of people tell me that they second guess what they're seeing. They second guess their intuition. Why do we do that? The saboteur steps up and takes over us. So again, you have many parts to you. The saboteur archetype is something that we all have to different degrees, depending on your work of integration, I would say. People that are very confident and believe in themselves, saboteur is not something they worry about. You have a lot of insecurity, saboteur is probably ruining just about everything. So having awareness of this can lead to significant spiritual growth, development, and confidence. Okay? So self-sabotaging is, I want you to understand that, nothing outside of you should ever manipulate you. No one should be able to control your mind, how you're feeling. So the saboteur lives within and it guides you, similarly to your ego, okay? Always trying to protect you, always trying to control you, but leaning from a scale of more of a lower vibrational energy. Whereas your spirit or your higher mind will lead you, usually rooted in love and the higher vibrational perspective, meaning leading to peace, less suffering, contentment, fulfillment, joy, okay? So from within you, self-sabotage is when you really act against your own best interest. Okay, so let's say, for example, you really want to drop 50 pounds. That's what you want. It would be good for you. It would be your best interest to lose that weight so that you can feel healthier, have more energy. But the saboteur speaks up in the morning and says, you don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to have that protein shake. Don't go to the gym. You'll look like a fat lard on the treadmill. Don't worry. You have next week to start working out. And just all of this just negativity, it just self-sabotages you to not getting to that next level. If that makes sense. Like this and drop a comment, okay? Let me know you're here with me. And it's so common. So be real with yourself. And if you can, you'll see that it's you stopping you from losing the weight. Okay, so another example is relationships. This is huge. I see often that we have a fantasy of what a wife should look like, a husband should look like. And in reality, who the universe brings us is more so a reflection of who we are versus who we think we are, right? And who would maybe potentially, when we find the one, may be the one to bring us the most fulfillment and prosperity, but it doesn't match who we thought we would be with. We follow a lot of illusions in our day-to-day. We lie to ourselves a lot. We tend to wear a lot of masks a lot in this society, which makes it very hard for us to discern our voice of truth unless you go through some sort of spiritual development journey, which I do offer. Check the link in the description box and sign up today. And I can help you to learn the language so you can tell you the laws of the universe, so you can find God from within you and understand your language. Not what I say. This is finding out what you believe the laws are and living by these laws of God. So we are confused, I think, naturally. And I think that our discernment as a collective is very off, because it's really our discernment that we learn is behind most often with spirituality a religious lens. When we have a religious lens, we're very dual, we're dualistic with what we see, our visions, our dreams, our knowings, our spirit communication. We have a lens on here, it's not all the way the highest perspective, it's capped. The truth is capped, truth is relative, but it's capped here at this kind of lower dimensional thought, way of thinking. Religion tends to hold people into the slave mindset, keeps people enslaved. They can't heal themselves. They don't know what to do. They don't know themselves. They don't know how to find the answer. It caps the mind, the brain's capacity, power, the heart's capacity and power. So we're very confused collective, and you have to begin to recognize where a lot of this confusion is coming from, where your negative self-talk is coming from. And once you do that, you'll be able to figure out more so what you truly want in life, what would be best for you. So I talked about self-sabotaging relationships, our health, and work is another big area that we tend to self-sabotage. And I'm going to go into this because what happens is we self-sabotage right before we level up, right before a level of empowerment, right before we empower someone else, we heal somebody else, help someone else to heal. Those good things in life, the higher vibrational next step, level up, promotion, is when we have to be very grounded, centered, and discerning if you struggle with this so that you stop it in its tracks and you don't let it lead you, okay? So work is a big one. We have on our vision board, we see ourselves jet setting and speaking at large conferences, and we actually go to school to get a degree just for this, and then we do it. We accomplish that, we get the job, and then the promotion comes after 5 years of school, 7 years dedicated to the company. The boss finally reaches out and gives you that promotion, okay? It's Jojo, it's time for you to get on the plane. We're going to send you to Seattle. We're going to send you to DC. We're going to send you to Atlanta, okay? And then Jojo goes, okay. Well, yeah, I manifested this. It's on my vision board, but the stress kicks in, the uncertainty kicks in, the unfamiliar kicks in. So I want you to have awareness that that's really what's triggering your self-sabotage, is that you have an unhealthy coping mechanism. You're not addicted to pain and suffering. Some would say you are. You've wired your brain to be addicted to the suffering you're in, the pain you're in. But I would say, energetically, it's more of you're more stuck in a coping mechanism that's keeping you small, safe, and it's a way to deal with the biological response to you having to show up for yourself. You having to go into a conference where you have to publicly speak and you may stutter, you may get something wrong, you may be judged. So it holds us back and keeps us small. But let's first talk about that next promotion and what it does to your biology. So although it's going to be a good thing for you to get that promotion and say yes and actually show up and receive it and do it, your body might start to feel stress from that. Your heart might start to race. You have a biological response to stress. Yeah, we claim it's a good stress. That's good. Like, there's a good nervousness. It's challenging you. It's helping you to grow. It's showing you who you are, your capability. But if you're just running amok in your heart and your mind, and you don't know who you are, your power, you think you're a victim to a diagnosis or disease, waiting for meds, waiting for a doctor, waiting for a savior, Jesus to come through and heal you, you're going to be very disempowered and always sabotage all of the goodness and blessings that the universe wants for you, that you really want for you. A part of you really wants that life. Part of you really wants that happy home. Part of you really wants that promotion, that healing journey, to have abs again, okay? But the saboteur steps up and guides our mind and our heart and says, this feels stressful. It's uncertain, it's uncomfortable. Your heart can start to race. You might get sweaty. You might begin to have sleepless nights if you don't know how to manage stress. So I think that that's where the healing message is coming through. If you have a pattern of self-sabotaging, you have to develop healthy coping mechanisms to stress. You have to get more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you have to give yourself not only the awareness that you're starting to get stressed out, but you have to have a technique that steps in and says, every time I get stressed out, whether it's good stress or stress because the lawnmower broke down, or the dog ran into poo and I had to clean, it's stressful. And I got bills to pay, that's stressful. That's more of a negative or lower vibrational stress. You having to give a speech into an audience of scientists after you've worked so hard for this paper and research, that stress is good for you. You can master that to help yourself get to the next level. And show up and give that speech, show up and deliver that presentation and get, cheered on. Talk about illusion and fantasy. A lot of times also what stops us and sabotages our success is this false illusion of all the what ifs, the fear of people booing me. And it doesn't even happen. I give the presentation, everybody's clapping, I get a standing ovation, but if I didn't check my saboteur within me, I could have not shown up for that presentation because the part of me, the saboteur, the lower part of me is standing up and saying, what if they don't like what you have to say? What if they don't accept you? What if they boo you? It's haunting. It's sabotaging to what you've worked hard for. You've earned that opportunity. Don't self-sabotage it and hold yourself back. So we tend to really get stuck at lower levels of consciousness and success, not able to reach the next level of promotion if we're faced with a stressor or a trigger and we don't know how to cope with it healthily. And we don't have discernment that it's a good stressor, a good or more positive discomfort. It's growth. Dark night of the soul, chaos magic, dark energy is God, is high vibrational. That chaos, that stress, that dark night leads to your most profound victories, your most profound levels up of success, okay? So some of the ways that this can, show up in your life is procrastination. The saboteur will speak up and tell you, do it tomorrow. You've got 4 weeks to get this project done. Do it next week, right? Spirit told you to do it today. But the saboteur steps up and says, do it next week. And comes to find out after you potentially miss marks. And sometimes we do. Most often we can create another opportunity. The universe will give us another lesson and test for us to get to the next level. And it's there. But sometimes, especially towards the end of our lives, in the elder years, we can look back and say, I missed the mark here, and I missed that opportunity here. And if I would have just shown up when Spirit told me to give that speech, it would have gotten in front of the right person, and then this could have happened. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Are you there now? Drop a comment. Let me know. Speak up, because it's so common, and we're here to grow together. So don't let that be you if you're a young person. Have your dreams, your aspirations known in your heart, and believe in yourself that you can accomplish it. And when the universe will meet that thought into the ether, it will come down, quantum physics, particle. It will birth in your reality, physical matter from your thought. So when it does, don't be surprised because you manifested it, and don't self-sabotage it because you've earned it and you deserve it, okay? So don't procrastinate. Show up for you. It also can come up as negative self-talk. And I shared on the live that when I was trying to give this message the other day, I remember my aunt telling me one day, many years ago, she said, Jordan, listen to you. You're self-sabotaging like this potential. And I had to stop and check myself, and I said, oh my God, like I am, and I from there have been working on it. But that was the first time I even had awareness that I was doing it. I dealt with a lot of chronic gaslighting when I was younger, and that left me always second-guessing myself, even though I felt true when I was speaking up. It can program your subconscious when you've gone through a lot of emotional or psychological abuse. It may not seem severe or deep, but then you grow up from childhood, and you have all of this negative self-talk. It's just natural for you. It's natural to hate yourself, to pick at your skin, to pull your hair. It's just natural to give that self-hate to yourself because it's been a chronic pattern that has been instilled. And your subconscious is like your programmer of your computer that will drive you, that will create your reality. Carl Jung, shadow work. Until you bring the light to the shadow, you won't even know that you're doing things. You'll just think it's destiny. You'll just think you have a diagnosis, and you won't question it. And that's what the colonization does, the medical system does, and the church does. Don't question it. Don't see for yourself. Trust us. Trust me. I'm the priest. I'm the pastor. Come to me for all your, Don't buy into that. Become more empowered with a sense of self, a knowing within you. Connect with your spirit to guide you versus someone else's, so say so. Okay, so self-sabotage is a manifestation of negative self-talk. A big one with women is we say, oh, what an ugly picture of me. So I've been doing a lot of filming lately, and I was like, geez Louise, Joe, Jordan, get to the gym, and my friend saying, stop it. You are beautiful. Stop that. That's the saboteur telling me I look big. I don't look cute. Okay? It may not even be true. It's just this lie to hold me back. And if I didn't check it, it would. And it does for many women in that regard, to where they don't feel good about themselves. Women, we have low self-esteem as a collective epidemic. And men too. Men are extremely insecure right now. It's a crisis. And what does that do? It cripples you. Energetically, it shrinks your energy. your power. So remember, your body doesn't have a spirit. Your spirit, that comes first, has a body. And so energetically, when you're insecure and you don't believe in yourself, your power, your prana, your ki, your chi, shrinks, closes in. When you're in fear, you're closed in, you're closed off, you're not empowered, you're not out there, you're not seen. You're not seen, you're not going to meet that love of your life. You're not going to go out there and get that job that you know you need. You're not going to go out there to the gym because you're afraid everybody's going to be looking at you. Who's looking at you? It's the illusion you're telling yourself. It's the lie. Tied to the saboteur. Fear of success is another big one. We have a fear of leveling up naturally because of, I broke down the biological response that will happen when we are pressed with something that is unfamiliar, unknown, or stressful. Okay, so I think also the fantasy will kick in too when, if you have a lot of like a fear of leveling up or fear of success, we self-sabotage that dream and goal because we tell ourselves that we're not good enough. You know, I want to be a teacher. I go to school for it. And then all of a sudden, okay, you did it. You've earned it. Now go and get the job. And she's the teacher's, the soon-to-be teacher, the graduate's afraid to go into the interview. And, you know, she's afraid of what that will require of her. If you are trying to work on your self-esteem and confidence, you have to be sure that you're not running from commitment. You're not running from your need to show up for you, for a friend that you care about, for someone else, your wife, your husband, for yourself getting that promotion. Many people get very childlike when it comes to show up. We see this big in our culture. We hide behind the computer. I know when I was graduated from high school, that's when it became more public and on the news that there was a lot of keyboard bullies, rise of it in my generation. People bullying other people but not showing face and bullying face to face. They get bold behind the phone, behind the computer, you know, and it's because showing up will trigger that stress response biologically. Showing up for yourself could mean it could be a risk that a part of you is trying to help you stay safe and not take in case it goes left or goes sour or bad. Nothing's bad. It's all transformation. So if you just rewire the way that you think and talk to yourself in regards to you needing to commit, stop telling yourself that commitment is bad. Stop saying out loud, I don't like to commit to things. I'm not big at committing. That's you self-sabotaging what you need to do. And nobody's going to come and change that for you. And if you don't, you might go your whole life and miss mark after mark after mark because of your own self-sabotaging, your fear of success, your fear of commitment. And I think one of the best skills you can do and develop if you are dealing with a very large self-saboteur within you is to not only get comfortable with being uncomfortable, but tell yourself the honest truth that commitment here, although it would mean sacrifice, can lead to something greater, and it's worth it. Okay, so change the way you're looking at commitment, and don't tell yourself I'm not good at this or that. Watch how you're talking to you. It's the saboteur archetype is the part of us that's unconscious, and it undermines any progress that we have. Okay. But it's not an enemy, it's a messenger. And I want you to begin to psychically tap in and predict, if you're dealing with this, when it could happen again. Okay, so right before you get a promotion, you have to check yourself, check your ego, make sure you're not going to sabotage you getting that promotion. So next, we're psychically predicting you meet a man, ladies. He's everything on the vision board. If you are aware you're doing this, you get very reflective, grounded, sober, centered, out of your ego into your spirit, your higher mind, your source, the God, goddess within you. that says, oh my God, this is like butterflies, I'm nervous, but I'm going to show up for myself. I'm gonna go on that date and be vulnerable. I'm gonna go and meet him. This might be good. This might lead to something that's really powerful. This could be the supportive partner I've always wanted. So when you're about to date, if you know you self-sabotage, show up for you. Don't let the moment you meet that person and it starts to go in your mind saying that you're not pretty enough, you're not good enough, you're too fat. Stop it. Stop it. Okay? This is how you reclaim your power. This is how you tap into spiritual sovereignty. Reclaiming this power will lead to some of your greatest transformation. And if we know we're self-sabotaging and we predict it psychically that it's about to come, or step up, or get loud like possession. Possession is not like in the movies. You're being possessed by the saboteur within you. It's not an external spirit, it's a part of you that needs integration so that it doesn't possess you as much as it's a part of you. You always want to be possessed, technically, by your higher mind, okay, by your soul. But if we have unresolved wounds, if we're fragmented, you will be possessed by many parts of you, and often in that state, disempowered, grieving, sad, depressed, and then you'll have possessions by other spirits. By laws of the universe mirroring, a soul will come and feed off of that grief, that chronic sadness and feeling disempowered. So you really have to focus on integration if this is something that is precedent and possessing you more than you would like. And it gets better. So we predict it. It's going to happen before the promotion, before the man, before my health journey. And I don't allow it. Every time you integrate the saboteur, you do the shadow work around the trigger, you find different coping mechanisms to biological responses of stress or pressure. You get stronger in your confidence and self-esteem. You become more empowered spiritually, mentally, emotionally. You work on your emotional intelligence when you do this. And it gets better like a skill to the point where you're integrated and no, that's not a problem for you anymore. You see that through that false light. You're in Journey with Jojo, drop a comment. I've been talking about this a lot with clients on Journey with Jojo in the community chat. Like, false light is like, we're so afraid of it. There's these myths to tell people not to tap into false light. That's up to you. You don't have discernment. You will be confused and in fear of everything. So your discernment is key to helping you feel safe, less fear, and understanding that this false light is potentially within you until you do something about it. Okay? Spiritual sovereignty. So moving forward, you predict when it can happen and you stop it. And at each and every time, it gets better and better to where it's no longer a problem. Okay? You have to understand your triggers, whether it's the fear of being seen, heard. A lot of times perfectionism falls under the fantasy. We have these ideologies of what it should look like, what it could look like, what it may never even be, and that runs us. And remember, in this dimension, it's not supposed to be perfect. It's perfect with the yin and the yang. It's perfect with the light and the dark, the good times and the bad times, the moments of joy and the moments of grief. Make this a collective experience that we could say is perfect. Nothing will be perfect here, meaning no suffering, no pain. Okay? It's not meant to be like that here. So aiming for this perfectionism really leads us to leaning into fantasies often, illusions, and we then, in return from that energetic exchange of thought, begin to feel not good enough, begin to feel not worthy of success, of the good things in life, not worthy of love, of health, of healing. And you're also really going to want to look into past trauma. And if there is something that took place to where your voice, your throat chakra, it shrank. Your power of you speaking your truth was shamed. Maybe somebody told you were stupid or silly for saying that, or you were gaslit, or it can get more severe. You spoke your truth and there was abuse, physical abuse, mental, emotional abuse that took place. That leaves an imprint in your energy field. It closes your throat chakra. So you really have to deal and face your past trauma if you ever really want to ascend past the saboteur, always stepping up and sabotaging your potential success. So trauma healing, therapy, counseling. I'm big on like hypnotherapy and regression. I believe in it. I've done it for me. I'm studying it. So regressing back to moments where there was trauma and you see it from a higher perspective and you can communicate with that part of you that was fragmented from that trauma, and you can close that door. You can tell the inner child within you, it's not right that there was so much arguing with your parents. They shouldn't have done that around you, and it's leaving you scared. It's leaving you feeling guilty, like you're the problem. It led you to go and escaping and eating a whole bunch of snacks because you were worried as a child. You were scared, and now you have an eating disorder as an adult. So when we're able to see these moments of trauma and how they've triggered us and led us to a coping mechanism and led us into a way we talk to ourselves, that's where what I would call cooking with grease. If you can do that, it brings a lot of closure to trauma. I think in this society, and I'm not a doctor, I can't prescribe or diagnose, but we throw around this like PTSD and we hold on to it. We can never move forward from events. We can't let go. We can't process it. We can't find peace with it. We identify with our trauma. We identify with our past. Self-sabotage will be very loud for you. The saboteur will be very, very loud. It'll always keep you small. It'll always keep you safe. It remembers when you do that, when you go on stage and speak your truth, you got booed at 17. So now as an adult, you won't even go near a stage. You won't even take the promotion. You won't even go to the interview. You're crippled, in your own power, living with mom, that has to take care of you because you can't get into your power. Okay, so you have to heal past trauma. And here's another thing that I'll say with our society in regards to this PTSD. You can heal. You can heal. You can let go. And if you're struggling with that and you're telling yourself, I can never get over this because it was so shocking, so painful, begin to watch stories of testimonies of success, of people finally resolving past wounds. Fill your mind with truth and reality of other people. Let's say, for example, that we're in a situation far worse than you. Okay, and judging the scale of how deep something painful something is and a trauma is relative. But let's say I like to, I remember watching a video of someone that escaped more of like a communist society and, had witnessed, militant control. Thinking of a woman's story where she saw her mother raped in front of her and, was held at gunpoint, and she had to escape her society just to have freedom, and horrible things happen to women in certain areas of the world where they have no voice, no power. They have to run. They have to flee and seek asylum because of torture. Watching someone be tortured in front of you, watching someone be, killed. I don't want to get graphic here, but, all of those things can be extremely painful to the human psyche. And I remember a story of a woman, specifically at the end, she let go. I think she was escaping North Korea, and she came to America, and it was like she was just amazed at Americans' inability to process trauma. After what she went through, she was like, I met somebody in college, and she was so messed up because of the way her mom talked to her, which is very common. In her mind, she weighed, I just watched my whole life growing up someone be tortured in front of me, raped in front of me. Like, girl, get over it. Like, you have so much opportunity. But Americans, I think, are really, we have this collective programming to stay stuck in past trauma. So if you are, don't identify with it. It was just a part of you. It was just a part of your journey. And a lot of times these really hard things that happen to us are, I believe, because I see it and I read it, predestined before we come here. So if you start to rewire your brain, look into reincarnation, look into life contract, and say, maybe I chose to go into this life for a reason. Maybe I chose before I came here to endure this type of suffering for a reason, to better me, to evolve me, to lead me to writing a book on something, to lead me to going into profession and helping other people because of it. Okay, so past trauma, we don't have to identify with it. It's called chaos magic, when you can take something negative and turn it into a positive. That's when you'll be an alchemist, and that's when you'll really get ahead. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up by saying, just begin. If you notice that the saboteur is very loud within you, just witness it without judgment. Do a lot of shadow work. Find the root cause of this negative self-talk, this disbelief in yourself. You can read audiobooks, you can listen to audiobooks, you can read books on self-empowerment, healing insecurity, becoming more confident in yourself. But a lot of that comes from your experience of you defeating the saboteur, showing up for yourself, and then receiving that victory, that reward that you deserve. You worked for it. You deserve that love. You deserve that promotion. Now enjoy it. We often can't hold the space for ourselves to enjoy things, to feel good, to feel safe. We sabotage it before we can even hold it in our hand, even though we deserve it. So just begin to witness that you're doing this is the first step, and looking at what's triggering your biological response, and working on the emotional intelligence, the nervous system regulation, having the techniques in your toolbox, I call it your spiritual toolbox, on how you're going to integrate the anxiety, to alleviate it, to feel more centered, and this will clear the blocks of self-sabotage. So that was the message that I have for you guys that I wasn't able to get all the way through on the live. So hopefully this works great and I can post it. And you can drop a comment of any question you have. I'll try to get back to everyone. If you have a prayer request, you can also put that in the comments and I will send healing prayers. But feel free also to share your testimony and maybe how you overcame the saboteur within you and integrated. And once you did, there was so much success and victory. You finally were able to allow yourself to authentically step into and enjoy. Okay, so I want you guys all to succeed. I want to succeed. And defeating the saboteur is extremely important if you are always stopping yourself from the next level. Choose love, not fear. Thank you.